Hello, thank you for joining this month's Connect with Control M session. My name is Trinidad Gaithan and I'll be your facilitator for this webinar. Today we will demonstrate Control M for SAP 921. We have three presenters today from the Control M support team, Inigo Rodriguez, Jose Luna, and Hugo Arguello. We recommend going to full screen mode during this presentation by pressing the full screen button. For any questions you may have during the presentation, please post them in the Q&A pod. We will be addressing your questions at the end of the session. Today we'll demonstrate the topics that you see here, and then afterwards we'll have a live Q&A session. For our first demonstration, Inigo will demonstrate how to upgrade Control for SAP to 921. Inigo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Trini, for that introduction. Today, we'll be looking into Control for SAP version 9.0.21. This is the agenda for today. First, we're going to see what Control for SAP 9.0.21 brings. Then, we will check the requirements we need to meet before we run the installation or upgrade. We will also look at a scenario where, as a Control M administrator, we'll be upgrading Control for SAP from version 9.0.01 to version 9.0.21. Finally, we're going to run the post-installation task. There are no major changes in Control for SAP 9.0.21. The Control for SAP plugin contains the following SAP job types. SAP Business Warehouse job, which enables you to run predefined SAP process chains and monitor their completion status. This job connects to the SAP application server or SAP message server. Then we have SAP Data Archiving job, which enables you to manage, schedule, and monitor individual archiving jobs. And finally, we have SAP R3 job, which lets you create and run a new SAP job, copy an existing job, run a predefined job, or monitor a scheduled job. This job also connects to the SAP application server or SAP message server, depending on the connection profile settings. Before running the upgrade or installation, we need to confirm that all the requirements are met. Control for SAP 9.0.21 supports Control M Agent 9.0.20 and higher. In addition to this, it only supports Control M Enterprise Manager 9.0.20 and higher, as well as Control M Server 9.0.20 and higher. We will upgrade from Control M for SAP 9.0.01. We must ensure that the extractor process is stopped before upgrading. We must also make sure that Java 11 or 17 is installed. As part of the 9.0.21 architecture, Java version 11 or 17 needs to be installed on the same agent where we are going to install the plugin. Now, we are going to show you what you need to download from the VMC support web. Open a web browser and type www.vmc.com/support. When you log in with the VMC credentials, you must click on Product Downloads. In the Product Downloads portal that opens, you must select either Product Download Tool or Legacy EPD Tool. Both of them will take you to the repository. Now, in Product category, we must find and select Application Integrations. Apply the filter, and we must find Control M for SAP. When we find it, we must select the version that we want to download. And now, we must select the package for the platform where our plugin is going to run on. In our case, it's going to be Windows. We click on the package and download. Now that we have the package for Control M for SAP, we are going to upgrade through a demonstration video. First, we open Control M Configuration Manager and we go to the agent where the plugin of Control M for SAP is running on. We go to the Control M for SAP and we check the version 9.0.01. We are also going to test Control M for SAP connection profile. We go to the Control M for SAP plugin, we right-click, and then we go to Connection Profile Management. The display that opens, we can see the different connection profile. We test to prove that everything is working as expected. Now that we have tested the connection profile and it is working, we can proceed with the upgrade. First, we must check the Java version installed on the agent. As I mentioned earlier, Control M for SAP 9.0.21 supports Java 11 or 17. So we can see in the screen, we have the BMC Java Home System variable configured and pointing to the Java version 11. That's all we need before launching the installer. All this information related to the Java version and installation can be found in the official documentation of the product for the version 9.0.21.100 or 9.0.21. In our case, as we are upgrading, we just need to adjust the BMC Java Home System variable to our new Java, either Java 11 or Java 17. Let's go now to run the upgrade. The upgrade of Control M for SAP can only be performed from the agent itself. We cannot upgrade Control M for SAP from the Control M Configuration Manager. Before running the upgrade, we must stop Control M agent. We go to Services, we find Control M agent, right-click, and stop. When the Control M agent is stopped, we can proceed with the upgrade. We go to Setup, and we launch the installer. In the installer that opens, we must select the Control M agent. In our case, we only have the default one. We click Next. We click Next, and the upgrade starts running. We must wait approximately 1 minute up to 2 minutes. The upgrade is successful. We click Done. Now we go back to Services and we must start up again the Control M agent. As for the Control M for SAP extractor process, it should be started if necessary. In our example, it is stopped by default. We go back to the Control M Configuration Manager to verify that the changes in the version of Control M for SAP have taken place. We go to the Control M server, and then we go to the agent where the plugin has been installed on. We go to Control M for SAP, and we check the version. As we can see, the version of Control M for SAP has been updated. It shows 9.0.21. This post-installation task only applies to a new Control M for SAP plugin. Before testing the plugin of Control M for SAP, we must download the SAP JCO 3.x files from the SAP download portal. These files are libraries that are mandatory in order for Control M for SAP to run. The libraries must match the operating system. You must copy the libraries to the location of Control M for SAP. Make also sure that Control M for SAP complies with the SAP authorizations. We can test the connection profile to verify that they are working as expected. We go to Control M server, then we go to the Control M agent where the plugin is running on, and we go to Control M for SAP. We right-click and we go to Connection Profile Management. In the display that opens, we click on any of the connection profiles and we test it. the connection profile test has been successful. We have successfully upgraded Control-M for SAP to the version 9.0.21. Back to you, Trini.
Thank you, Inigo, for showing how to upgrade Control-M for SAP to 921. In our next demo, Jose will show how to create an SAP job that can manage SAP spawn jobs. Jose, please go ahead.
Thank you, Trini, for the introduction. In addition to the information presented previously by Inigo, one of the things we can take advantage of in this latest version is the use of centralized connection profiles. As we know, centralized connection profiles were introduced from version 920, and this feature will allow you to define connection profiles once and store them on a central location, which is the Control-M Enterprise Manager database, and use them across all the available agents. Control-M for SAP 921 plugin supports both centralized connection profiles, which are defined from the Control-M web interface, and the local connection profiles, which are the ones created from the Control-M configuration manager and stored locally on the agent side as in previous versions. On this demo, we'll focus on a very useful feature named Detect Spawn Jobs, which help us to detect and monitor jobs that were spawned or created by a parent SAP job. So in this way, we can monitor a parent SAP job and its child jobs from Control-M interface. This feature is available for R3 and BW jobs, which we also know as process chain jobs. In order to make sure this feature works properly, we need to ensure the extractor process is up and running. From CCM in the extractor management section, we need to enable the spawn job option. And finally, from the job definition, we need to enable the detect spawn job option too. We will see all of this in a few, so now let's move to our demo. For this demo, I will use a centralized connection profile. So first, I want to show you how you can create it. As mentioned previously, centralized connection profiles are created from web interface. So first we access to the web interface. We provide the credentials. Okay, here we go to this icon and select configuration. A new tab will be open in order to access to the configuration domain. This will take a few seconds. Okay, here we go to this arrow and select centralized connection profiles. Here I already have a SAP connection profile created. So if we click on it, we will see all the details to connect to our SAP system. Okay. So this information should be provided by your SAP admin. So you just do cancel. If you want to add a connection profile, we use the add connection profile option. So here we will see the available plugins that we have in our environment. In this case, I only have the SAP plugin installed on my environment. That's why we only see this option. So we select it, and here we will see the connection profile window. So we just need to provide the details and click the add button. Okay. Another thing that we can do from here is to test the connection profile. So we just do click on the test button. We need to select the agent from where we want to test the connection profile. So we just hit the test button. And we can see the profile is validated. Okay, let's continue with the demo. Now we will see how the spawn detection feature works. As mentioned previously, there are 3 requirements to ensure this feature works properly. First, we need to make sure the extractor process is up and running, as we can see here. Also, we can identify this process in the task manager in this way. Okay. Then we move to our Control-M configuration manager. We do right click on the SAP plugin in order to access to the extractor management. Here we can see one of the options is named spawn job. So we need to make sure this is set. So by default, this is set to no detect, but we need to make sure that it's set to one of the priorities. So in this case, we are setting this to first priority. Okay, so then we need to check the job definition. Okay, so this is a SAP R3 job. So here we can see that it is using the centralized connection profile that we defined previously. So here we can see some information about this job. Also here we can see the ABAP program that will run in the SAP system, and also it has 4 variants that is related to the child jobs. Okay, if we expand this section, we'll find the detect spawn job option. So this must be enabled to make sure the spawn jobs are detected and monitoring in Control M. So by default, it's not enabled. So if we enable it, so once we check it, we can see these other options are enabled as well. So these 2 options are very important when they are enabled. This option allows the parent job to end only after all child jobs complete. If this option is not enabled, a parent job ends in Control M after all child jobs are detected and monitored by Control M, no matter the status of the child jobs. So this means if a child job fails, parent job will be marked as ended OK, regardless the failure of any child job. This other option allows Control M to wait for all child jobs to complete, which means that if any child job fails, then the parent job will be marked as ended not OK. Now, this other job is a process chain job, also known as a BW job. So this type of job also supports this detect spawn job option. So if we expand this information here, so we will see here the same information as in the R3 job. Okay. So, well, for this scenario, we're just going to run the R3 job. So let's move to the monitoring domain. Here we can see our R3 job that is ordered. This parent job will spawn 4 child jobs, so let's free it and we will see the child jobs will be detected and will appear in a few seconds. We can see the parent job start executing. Now the first child job has been detected and we'll see the other child jobs will appear shortly and their status will be updated as well along with the status of the parent job. Now the parent job and these child jobs have finished and ended OK. We can check the log and the output of the parent job. Also, we can have a look to the job and output of the child jobs from the client itself. In addition, from the job properties of the parent job, we can see the parent job hierarchy where we can check the job count of the child jobs on SAP system and also their status. This concludes this demo about the detect spawn job feature, so let's continue with the session. Back to you, Trini.
Thank you, Jose, for showing how to create an SAP job that manages SAP spawned jobs. For our final demo, Ugo will demonstrate how to manage intercepted and extracted SAP jobs. Ugo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Trini, for the introduction. Today, I will talk about extraction and interception features in Control M for SAP and its common uses. These both features are part of the extractor process that runs on Control M agent side. With the extraction feature, Control M will reflect the status of jobs executed in SAP system. This way, there is no need to log into SAP to know the current job status. Sometimes, jobs scheduled in SAP system may interfere with other jobs or need to follow certain rules prior to execution. Job interception allows SAP system to put job on hold based on previously defined criteria. Once a job is submitted in SAP and intercepted, then it can be handled in Control M monitoring domain. To control job execution in Control M, it's possible to use quantitative resources, or it can be released manually. Then the job will start executed in SAP system. In the next scenarios, I will show you how extraction and interception jobs appeared in monitoring domain and Control M. Now this is my web client. I am in planning, and as you can see, I previously defined an extraction demo job. On the right, you can see the parameters defined in the job. Nothing special, only a regular SAP job. Now, I'm going to configuration and I will show you that I previously defined centralized connection profile. And also click on the plugin. I can see the SAP connection profile defined here. I will click on configuration and we'll go to extractor management. Here in extractor management, please be aware of interval time. It is set already to 30 seconds. By default, it's set to 120. This value is used by the extractor process in order to update jobs in the monitoring domain. Now, I'm going to click on extractor definitions, and I will select the connection profile previously defined. In this case, SAP centralized. Let's wait until the settings are loaded here. Okay, here we are. Here we can see the SAP interception criteria, CTM interception rules, and also extraction criteria. Let's focus first on extraction criteria. Click on extraction criteria, and it will display these both fields, extraction criterion and extraction rule. I will edit the first field. This is the job submitted in subsystem. It is possible to use wildcards. The rest of the parameters are blank. It will use the default values. I'm going to close it out, and I will edit the extraction rule. In this section, the extractor will look for this. The extractor executed on agent side will look for this job in subsystem. Okay, and this is the template I previously showed in the planning domain. This is the extraction demo job and also the folder name that it belongs to. Okay, I'm going to close this for now. Now let's go to subsystem to define a job. Okay, here in SAP, I'm going to define a job according to the criterion reviewed in the web client. So I will use just a common name. I will use this previously defined job, and I'm going to add a step. Okay, I'm going to check it, save it. Okay, go back. Now I'm going to submit the job, just like that. Now I will go to SM37 to view the current job status. Okay, so you can see here the job is in scheduled status. Now let's go back to the web client to see how the job is displayed in the monitoring domain. This is the job in the monitoring domain on Control M. When the job is in scheduled status in SAP, and the job will appear as executing in the monitoring domain. As soon as the job is released on subsystem, then the status will reflect also on monitoring domain. So let's go back to SAP system. I will release the job, and then we will come back here to validate when the job finishes. Now, selecting the job, release, immediate. Okay, save changes. Okay, job finished, and now let's go back to web client to see the job status. Once the job is released and finished on SAP system, the status will update also in the monitoring domain by the extractor process. Okay, now let's see the interception example. I'm going to planning domain, and here is the interception template demo previously defined. Also, as you can see, there isn't anything special in SAP parameters. Okay, now I'm going to select configuration. In this all plugin section, configuration again, and structure management. Now we need to wait for the parameters to load. Okay, we'll expand structure definitions again, selecting SAP centralized connection profile. Okay, and now we are focused on SAP interception criteria. Okay, now click in the load field. This will load the previous profiles defined for interception criteria. Selecting this one. This refers to the job executed in SAP system and the user related. Okay, now we'll expand CTM interception rules. Selecting the same profile. I'm going to edit to show you the parameters defined here. Again, this is the job executed in SAP, also the user, and this is the template that I showed previously. Okay, close this one. Okay, now on SAP, I have a job previously defined, job inter1, that is in intercepted status, as you can see here. Now let's go back to the client and see what is the current status of the job in the web client. Now, from here in the monitoring domain into the web client, once the job is on execution and intercepted in the SAP system, the job will be loaded here. We can see that the job is not execution and basically is waiting for resources. So now click on Tools, Resource Pools, and this is the resource related to that job. No available resources at the moment. I'm going to edit and I'm going to add 5 resources. So once resources are available, go to monitoring and the job will start executing shortly. Okay, job executed successfully in the monitoring domain. Now we will go back to the SAP system and we will see here the job finished also successfully. Okay, now came back to the monitoring domain, and this is the end of this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo, for showing how to manage intercepted and extracted SAP jobs. All right, everyone, that concludes our session for today. On behalf of Inigo, Jose, Hugo, and the entire Connect with Control M team, thank you for spending some time with us today. We look forward to you taking advantage of these features in your environment. Stick around for the Q&A session where we will take your questions. But first, you can learn more about the BMC Education course Control M Fundamentals Administering by clicking the link in the link section below, or you can visit the bit.ly link you see on the screen. Your feedback shapes our future webinars. We would appreciate if you will take a moment and answer a few questions for us in the survey that you will receive later today. You can find Control M on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Links for each one can be found in the link section below. You can watch previous webinars in the Control M channel on YouTube. Today's webinar will be posted there within a couple of days. Let's kick off the Q&A session. As a reminder, you can enter your questions on the Ask a Question section at any time.